is not only affected by weather factors such as drought or flood, such as wild boar, white-tailed. Farmers and ranchers in the United States must also suffer damage from coyotes and wild turkeys in search of food. Although chances are you will see deer and wild boars leaving the woods and heading towards the Gulf of Texas or California. If you live in the suburbs and seem innocent, they are known to be two of the most destructive wildlife species for cattle ranchers. In addition, coyotes are also the most annoying predator. In particular, the vegetable production in wild boar costs them about $1.7 billion. According to a report by farmers in Texas and California 2021. This is a herd of wild boar in the city of San Antonio in California has suffered about $650 million in damage caused by wildlife in the south of Texas, accounting for nearly half of the country's wild boar population. In recent years, Texas has always been the state with the largest number of wild boar in the country, with about 3.5 to 4 million heads. They start breeding when they are 6 months old. Each year, a female wild boar, wild boars, the number of wild boar in the United States adapt with the ability to reproduce quickly on litter, and the number of piglets born is about 10 to 50, has always remained high, even though millions of pigs are killed each year in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Southern California, hunters across the country. Currently, in addition to Texas, wild boar is also very popular in states. It is estimated that each year this animal causes agricultural losses across the in the forest. Although they are wild animals and often of about $2.7 billion. When they discover there is an abundant food source, the herds of wild boar do not hesitate to head to the field or wheat are often the favorite destinations. Large fields of corn, vegetable, considered an invasive species and extremely harmful. Imagine what would happen if a herd of about 25 wild boars visited your corn farm and boar herds. They can even hide and destroy crops there for weeks before for 1 week. In the United States, wild boar is to minimize their impact on agriculture. An unprotected animal. Most states in the United States encourage people to trap and hunt wild boar without. After being trapped, these wild boars will be killed by. It is estimated that every year before being brought home to be processed or sold to restaurants. Many farmers even kill dozens of wild boar and do not bother to pick up their carcasses. However, this does not reduce the number of invasives because their ability to reproduce and adapt is very good. 1.5 and 3 million wild boars are killed just because they are so used to wild boar meat. In addition to wild boar, today coyotes are found in every state of the United States except for Hawaii, better adapted to changing conditions and there is almost no animal in the United States. Are also one of the most annoying animals for ranchers in the United States. Female coyotes normally become pregnant when they reach 1 year old, and few natural enemies. and the gestation period lasts just 2 months. Thanks to the ability to adapt to extremely good living estimates by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, California is home to the largest number of coyotes in the United States has always increased rapidly. Coyotes spend most of the day roaming. This number may actually be much different in reality, with about 750,000 creatures, because the ability of this animal to reproduce is very good. And at night time is usually the time when they go forage. This is also the time when many coyotes come close to livestock farms to feed. Their food is usually rodents and the carcasses of dead animals. In addition, it is not uncommon for coyotes to attack and kill farm animals. About 117,000 livestock animals. This is also the wild animal that is responsible, according to USDA statistics, each year in the United States for the most loss of life. To limit the impact of coyotes on agriculture and to prevent population explosions of this species, most states allow the hunting of this animal for 12 months of the year. 50,000 coyotes, and most coyotes killed live fairly close to livestock. Each year, hunters in the US kill about 500. When it comes to animals that damage US agriculture, the white-tailed cannot be ignored. Even more, the damage caused by this animal to American farmers is greater than wild boar. Currently, there are about 6.7 million deer living in the United States, of which the number of white-tailed, they usually spend most of their time wandering in the forests. When spotted next to the living areas where there are fields or crops, white-tailed deer cost US agriculture about $2.5 billion. The white deer will not miss the opportunity to feed. According to USDA estimates, in June 2020 accounts for 81%. Basically, the behaviour of white-tailed deer is quite similar to wild deer across the country. It is also the cause of hundreds of traffic accidents. This species is responsible for 58% of crop loss and 33% of vegetable loss across the country. In addition, the white-tailed, the National Deer Association, about 6.1 white-tailed deer are killed by hunters across the country each year, making it the most hunted animal in the United States. According to estimates, the third most populous state in the US. Hello my friends, today we are going to visit a modern city in the United States to see how farming and livestock work in this state. With about 8.5 million people living and working there. When it comes to the state of New York, we often think of the with about 7.1 million acres of land used for farming. However, New York is also one of the states with a fairly developed agricultural industry and livestock. Famous agricultural products in New York are about 33,000 cattle, calves, corn, and many other fruits. According to statistics, in 2020, of that, 34% of the state's farms and 753 farmers markets in the central center of the state. concentrated in the Finger Lake area, which is considered the. We are currently on a dairy farm in Wyoming County, West, right next to the farm, to freely feed for about 3 hours. It is home to more than 300 adult dairy cows. Every morning, these dairy cows will be herded to. Currently, in New York, about 3,500 dairy. Every day, each adult dairy cow will need to eat in operation, and the number of dairy cows in the state is about 626,000 heads. 25 to 35 pounds of fresh grass to maintain milk, and they return to the farm. In the late afternoon, in addition, other foods such as grain will also be area where they will be fed more roughage and grain. Hundreds of dairy cows will be herded to the milk. Each dairy cow here usually produces between 6 to 8 gallons of milk. Here, about process at another dairy farm, 100 dairy cows will be milked within 3.5 hours to a factory about 3 miles away for per day. Once the milking process and bottling before being sold on the market is complete, millions of pounds of milk will be transferred. Each year, New York produces about 15.7 billion pounds of milk. With nearly 4,000 dairy in operation, also creates about 27,000 jobs each year. In addition, the dairy industry and it is also the 4th largest milk producing state in the country. Next, we'll go to a duck egg farm in New York's Genesee district, which is home to more than 400 ducks in the harvesting stage. Currently, there are about 87 active ducks. The majority of ducks here are raised in farms in New York, with about 1.3. According to statistics, in 2020 can lay between 215 and 240 eggs per year. With a nutritious diet, each duck is made for the purpose of egg harvesting. Ducks raised for meat and eggs. In particular, the majority of duck farms across the country are concentrated in 2 states, Wisconsin and in the United States. There will be about 31.3 million. Goodbye ranchers, we're going to a large cornfield in New York's Orange County to see how the harvest of corn goes on. Indiana. Making New York the 17th state in the nation in terms of corn acreage. Today, corn is the state's main crop, with about 1 million acres planted annually. Instead, the bulk of corn production in the state is grain and silage. In New York, sweet corn is not as popular as in Florida or California, and corn makes up 60% of dairy feed in the state. When it comes to farm, annual sales of corn silage in New York is around $313 million, second only to Washington. This is the second largest apple growing state in the United States. New York. We cannot ignore apple farms. Currently, apple farms of different sizes in operation, and each year the apple harvest from is about 613,000 tons. In New York, there are about 700 farms of Western New York State. Go to a farm in Boston Lake area to see how farmers produce millions. Federal. Peas are commonly grown in fields ranging from 20. New York farmers harvest about 17,000 acres for peas each year. Tons of peas here. Peas were amongst the first crops grown and harvested in New York. In New York, farmers will plant pea seeds outdoors in early to mid. Once harvested, New York peas are usually shipped to the factory to be processed into frozen peas. To 100 acres. November every year is used. With these state-of-the-art harvesting machines, farmers here can harvest around 18,000 pounds of peas per hour time when peas are harvested in this.